Hello, good evening once again, and welcome back to the Racing Post studio for In the Know, sponsored by Coral. My name is Ross Brierley, and we are past the halfway point of Royal Ascot 2022. Another lively afternoon of action, including a fantastic finish for the Gold Cup, with Kyprios living up to his family name. We saw a dramatic opener with the Riddler hanging halfway across the track. Plenty of question marks over the winner, that's for sure. That's 50-1 for last year's winning connections as well. Reach for the Moon was put to the sword by Claymore, and we saw plenty of other talking points in the handicaps. And Magical Lagoon, of course, gives it a little bit of a boost to that Fillies Mile form from last year. We see the winner of that race returning to the track tomorrow afternoon in the shape of Inspiral in what looks like a very good Coronation Stakes. We've also got a red-hot Commonwealth Cup on a very red-hot day. We've got more juvenile fun and games in the opener with the Albany, and there are, of course, 4 more races to get properly stuck into. Best of luck if you are playing, and we'll obviously be discussing plenty of talking points from the day very briefly, and then going through tomorrow's races. This is live and interactive, of course, live on YouTube, live on Facebook. Like and subscribe to the stream if you haven't already, and get those selections and talking points in on the chat box. It's been a revolving door of pundits, professionals and analysts throughout the week here for In the Know, ahead of Royal Ascot. And there's another man in the studio. Where do they keep on finding these tipsters? Well, it is Edinburgh's finest export, Mr. Keith Melrose, right next to me for the first time this week. Yeah. Keith, how are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. It was like being in the studio with Stuart Machin when you came out with all those excellent puns.
Well, I'm glad you appreciated them.
I did. I got the image of the Riddler in my head, like, you know, like the 60s one.
Yeah.
The cat suit on, and that just got me.
Absolutely, yeah. And, I'm glad you appreciated that, because I put at least 90 seconds thought into those,
well,
I think.
It wasn't a wasted 90 seconds, let me tell you.
What did you make of this afternoon, Keith?
It was a really interesting afternoon, actually. The Gold Cup was a cracking race, wasn't it? It answered a lot of questions for me, bar one, which was about Mojo Star, who, was it stamina or was it fitness? Yeah. And that's the thing to answer going ahead. That's Stradivarius now, that's as good as he is these days. The winner's obviously a very good horse. What did he hate? I don't actually know. He was hating something, because for the first mile he just wasn't really on the bit. Yeah. And then obviously you've got them.
It's just a quirky character, isn't it?
We decided that on the other show we're doing. We decided he's a bit of a thinker, shall we say. And we briefly got the excitement of thinking, God, this mare's getting up the inside and might win. Yeah. But no, I thought that was a smashing race, actually. Yeah, it was. It was. It lived up to the potential hype. 2 4-year-olds taking over the baton from the older horses as well. Stradivarius going down, fighting, of course, Tom. It was the Gold Cup finish we wanted. As for the juvenile race, I'm not sure. I can imagine you were. I don't know. You haven't got a cat to kick, have you? But it was dramatic stuff in the Norfolk.
Listen, I have spent my life, probably 20 years, just telling everyone that our stewards' inquiry rules are the worst in the world, and today I think we proved it in spades again. If that's not reckless, dangerous riding, then nothing is. And people say, oh, we would have won anyway, but it makes no difference. If you're the owner of the 4th, the 3rd, or the 3rd, you have lost a hell of a lot of prize money. It's Royal Ascot. You might have lost 10 grand, 15 grand, I don't know what, but you have lost a position due to the antics of some horse that had nothing to do with you. You ran dead straight, some other horse has taken you off, and you have lost £20,000. It's wrong. It's simply wrong. He should have been thrown out like in any other sport around the world, in any other jurisdiction. And I just get so cross with it. But then, listen, do what you like. I'm so sick of saying it. I'm tired. I'm blue in the face from saying it. But I just find it so frustrating, because in any other sport, that horse would be penalised. And we just don't do it. We let them get away with dangerous, careless. Someone's going to get hurt, and it's got to stop. It really has.
Yeah, no. I mean, if it was 2-on-2 in football, and you kind of just shoved over the defenders to let your teammate go through.
Yeah, it was just a perfect embodiment of it, wasn't it? Of how it can go wrong. in this country. I mean, sometimes it doesn't actually matter, and sometimes you think, yeah, we're moaning about that, and yes, they'd get chucked out. And there are times when you go, well, actually, that horse would get chucked out in America or France, but they probably didn't deserve to. Yeah. But today was the perfect embodiment of why ours are wrong.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an odd decision, and 10 days, I think, for a Royal Ascot winner. Most people, Simon Clare, would say, I'll take the 10 days holiday and go away with a smile on my face to the Royal Ascot winner. But what did you make of this afternoon's action? Obviously, there was that talking point, cracking Gold Cup, Reach for the Moon, of course, going off a very short price and being down by Claymore. We had, as ever, plenty to chat about.
Yeah, listen, it was a really good day's racing, wasn't it? Some really, really competitive handicaps. You had Secret State, a joint favourite win the King George, but then Thesis was a very good result in the Britannia. That was the race that all the bookmakers are donating their profits to charity as part of a sort of, an industry-wide initiative. And I think there'll be a lot to give to the charity because Thesis was a cracking result across the board. So that figure will be announced on Monday. And then Edinburgh Park in the last was a pretty good result. So, crazy day, lots of stuff to discuss. I thought, I've always thought some of the international rules are almost too harsh, where a horse has a minor nudge, wins the race and would have run the race, and they throw it out. That happens in France and America a bit. But this is an example of where our rules are just way too soft because, as the guy said, the rule actually is there that if that's considered reckless or dangerous riding, not only does it get a ban, but the horse does actually get demoted, and they chose not to use it. And to me, that's a bit like the sort of VAR debate in football. They're almost bottling the right decision because it's Royal Ascot, because they never use it.
But how is it any different than Sandown over the jumps last year, which they changed that, and if anything, it was 5 furlongs Royal Ascot fast ground. It was even more dangerous.
Was Sandown dangerous, or was it because they thought it affected the result, though, Ross? I can't quite remember.
Well, I mean, surely it's both today, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. The whole. If it's dangerous or reckless riding, it doesn't even matter if there is. That's the thing. The rules I understand mean that is when they just say no, the horse is thrown out because of the. So that's what I'm saying. So they didn't even have to debate whether it affected, actually whether it should be won on merit or not. So I don't know. The rule, we don't want to debate it till we're blue in the face. But I think you don't want to completely change the rules. I think there's some merit in it that we don't chuck horses out who should have won the race because the jockey made a bit of a cock up. But I think if they do something which is dangerous, we know there are jockeys who've been seriously injured. I mean, life-changing injuries from incidents in races. So we know that. Freddie Tulicki, the obvious recent example. So we have to do things that don't reward dangerous riding with a win at Royal Ascot. And today they didn't do it.
Yeah. You've got to nip these things in the bud before they cause bigger issues. Anyway, we could talk about that all day, but we've got more Royal Ascot action to come for tomorrow. So again, get your selections in for tomorrow's racing. It doesn't get much easier, does it? That's Royal Ascot. That's the whole joy of it. Also the pain of it as well, to an extent. You could ride a Thesis on those straight track races, couldn't you? But let's go to Ascot for the opener tomorrow. The Albany Stakes kicking us off. The juveniles once again coming to the fore here. The fillies are taking their turn, and Morge is 5-2 favourite. Has been quite well backed, taken over at the top of the betting from Meditate at 11-4. Queen Ollie is 15-2. Fully Wet is at 9-1, which quite the opposite of what's going to be happening tomorrow at Ascot. Power Dress 12-1. Sydney Arms Chelsea is 14-1. Lady Bullet 16s, and Cathy Come Home 16-1 as well. Once again, Tom, you've been getting stuck into the juvenile form this week, and apart from Wallbank today, it's pretty much the horse who's done the best performance in novice or maiden company coming into this has gone on to win. That probably stands with Morge, and it's no surprise to see the market kind of move towards the Godolphin runner here. 5-2 favourites for Saeed Bin Suroor and Ray Dawson.
Yeah, I think so. I think she's the right favourite. She was really impressive at Newmarket, wasn't she? The thing I like most about her is her sire. Exceed and Excel has a brilliant record in 2-year-old races at Ascot. She will love the fast ground. She's going to improve for the run. I don't really think Mediate's form is that brilliant, but she is by no means ever. Might want a bit of give in the ground too. So I was quite keen to take her on at the start of the day. They were the other way around, as Simon just pointed out. So I think the right favourite's there, but it's not going to be easy. I think there's plenty of others in there. I know Ammo Racing thought that Queen Ollie was their best chance of the week before the start of the week, in front of Wallbank and in front of the horse that ran very well in the in the Coventry, so she's obviously working extremely well. And I know you boys fancy Power Dress, and on the figures, yes, her time was exceptionally good at Newmarket. I'm just not convinced. I know she beat the fast filly Yashat, but I just think Morge is going to take that big step forward again here, side Binsuror at Royal Ascot, and I think she is the right favourite, and I think she'll win.
Yeah, she won by a fair old margin last time out, didn't she? And a couple of people saying off air that if it had been the other Godolphin trainer, of course, would she have been 12-1 that day, and would she have been even shorter in this race?
I think so. Yeah, the Appleby is far more popular, it's fair to say, than side Binsuror. So yeah, I'm not surprised to see her this short anyway. But God, what price would she be with Appleby? It would have been interesting to see, wouldn't it? But she must have a massive chance in this race. I know that Paul Keely's very keen on her as well. Tom's spiked our guns a bit, hasn't he, really? He's told us that we all fancy Power Dress.
Yeah.
That's right. The time of that race is really good. And it was just the form of it has worked out really well as well, isn't it? Because the second was Yasat, who wasn't up to much in the race she ran another day, the Queen Mary, but
I think at a flatter track
she showed loads of speed, didn't she?
Yeah.
She'd been second in the Marygate at York behind Pillow Talk. And actually, the horse that finished third in the race by Yasat, Lost Angel, that beat Pillow Talk on its next run on what was Pillow Talk's debut. Pillow Talk ran in the Norfolk today. The form just worked out really nicely. Clearly the sort of horse that's been saved for a go at Ascot after an early 2-year-old race. That was a 2-year-old race.
Which has worked this week, hasn't it? Dramatised being the most prominent example.
It works. There's a lot of people doing it. A lot of people, they have that one big win, and even if it's 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks from Ascot, they'll save them for the big day, because if it is a precocious sort, the culmination of that horse's career might be the Royal Ascot race, so they get them ready at home. And I had a look at the horse's pedigree as well. Dandy Man, we know all about, is a very speedy sire, of course, but the dam's also a half sister to Daniel's Flyer, who was 6 furlongs, quick grounds, that sort of horse. And so just a lot to like about Power Dress. She's not a more likely winner than Modge, but it's
25-1 24 hours ago, which is annoying when you look at it, and it's 12. So
well, exactly, yeah, it has come in everywhere, and it's annoying now that she's not quite the value she was, but she's still the most interesting of the horses at double figures, I would say.
Power Dress 12-1 now for Richard Hannon and Sean Levy. In between those ones we haven't mentioned, we did mention Queen Ollie and Meditate. Fully Wet for John Gosden, and of course Frankie Dettori, who had a pretty frustrating week. The Frankie multiples. I don't know if people have still been placing them this week, Simon, but you've been collecting those in droves.
Yes, we have. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's not been a good week so far for Dettori, but I think I think one of our In the Know specials is actually relating to Frankie Dettori, isn't it? 5-4 to have one winner today, and 8-1 to have two winners tomorrow. This is for Friday. So yeah, I'll come back to them again. I'll just double check them. I think it's 8-1 from 6-1. Here we go. They're on the screen. Brilliant production. Frankie Dettori to ride a winner at Ascot. That's 5-4 from 10 to 11. I think to ride 2 is 8-1 from 6-1. So there we go. Maybe it'll be Dettori's day tomorrow.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the one thing I did kind of notice, we spend ages, Tom, going through this form line, that form line, trainer, draw, this, that and the other. Vast majority of the races at Ascot this week fought out by a handful of top experienced jockeys.
Yeah, well, they get the best rides, don't they? And quite rightly so. I'm a big believer that there is a hierarchy of jockeys. It's like any sport. Some are better than others, and they get the best rides at the best meetings. But like you say, we spend so much time looking at draws and paces and this, that, and the other, and I get it wrong every single time. If you'd have told me that the two big handicaps today were certain to be, horses from track 32 would be switching over to the far side, if you'd have watched the Victoria Cup and said 3 weeks later that's what will be happening at Royal Ascot, I think they would have come and taken you away, because it's just a place where I think it's impossible to predict what's going to happen on any race, on any day. And for the rest of the week, it could easily switch back. So whatever anyone's thinking about Ascot, tear it up, throw it in the bin and have a crack, because you just don't know.
Okay. The Albany Stakes then, the first race tomorrow. Keith, what's the angle?
It's Power Dress for a bit of value.
Power Dress for a bit of value. Tom?
Well, I think Morge is going to win, but it's not a bit of value, really. But I get the Power Dress thing. I think we should mention Kathy Come Home, because it's Carl Burke, isn't it? And from the dramatised stable, and he's got the best, the best fillies, isn't he? He's got the best 2-year-old fillies. He won the Mary Gate. He's won the thing. So the fact that she's coming here with Danny Tudhope on is probably she's probably quite good too. But I think Morge will win, and I think Power Dress is probably the danger.
Okay, Simon.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the money for Morge is extraordinary, really, just in the last hour or so. Meditate was 5-2, Morge 3, and now Morge is 2-1 clear favourite. Meditate is out to 130 without us, and 4-1 elsewhere. So there's a real, so you can just tell that sort of surge in confidence. And Type Straw is in great form, actually, recently, 71% RTF and 4 winners from 19 in the last 2 weeks. So you can see that. Power Dress has been well backed. Richard Hannon's horses in, Lusail second, Persian Force second, Mojo Star second. They're hitting the woodwork this week, so you can see that running well. So I think the money for Morge is compelling. I'll probably go for her rather. But beautiful. I thought an interesting also just for the Christmas team, who I follow quite closely with their 2-year-olds. Beautiful Eiling was second, a really good debut. Went to Chelmsford, long odds on, 4-9. Didn't go around the bend at Chelmsford, ran green. Was just beaten into second, but won't we have a problem here? So I thought it's a big price. Simon Christen's horses are often capable of running quite well here. So 33-1. I thought she might be a bit of value each way.
Okay, although you did say you got an Irish passport, didn't you, Simon? Because you might have to revoke it after that pronunciation, I think.
What did she say? Beautiful.
It's Ashling. Surely it's Ashling, isn't it? Oh, my word. Beautiful
Ashling. Yeah, all right, Ross.
That's it.
I never lived there.
Yeah. Well, they won't let you back in. It's from here on in. OK, that's the Albany Stakes then. Although I can almost feel that I'm going to mispronounce several horses throughout the rest of the show to come back now and bite me in the backside. OK, from the Albany Stakes to the Commonwealth Cup then. 6 furlongs, 20 runners, and an absolute blinding sprint here for the 3-year-olds. And they're going to be spread out all over the track, but no surprise given what we've just been talking about, how the races have been unfolding, to see a bit of money for Eraz and Perfect Power firm up, because they're in box 2 and 1 respectively. Perfect Power is 4-1 favourite, Eraz 6-1, Twilight Jet 6s, El Caballo is 13-2, Go Bears Go 8-1, Tiber Flow 11s with Slipstream, and 12-1 Wings of War. 20 of them, every last piece of form you could possibly want being represented here, and plenty of Ascot horses from last year as well. Of course, Perfect Power for the same connections as the Riddler, and Go Bears Go is beaten by Perfect Power, and often this race does go to Ascot winners. The only one who hadn't previously experienced at the track was Quiet Reflection, who was from the Carl Burke stable, of course, and El Caballo is a very similar type in that regard. You've been doing the sprinters, Keith, and you've got strong views about how good the Commonwealth Cup is.
I love the Commonwealth Cup. Oh, you want me to say the line again, don't you? It's like that Simpsons meme you get. No, I do think it is basically the 5th Classic now.
Yep.
Because it's
Scrap the ledger, it's the Commonwealth Cup.
Yeah, it's so much more important, isn't it? These horses, there's a piece that you'll see in the paper now, or it's online now, it'll be in the paper tomorrow, about the amount of Group 1 winners it's produced. 24 individual open age Group 1 wins subsequent to this race. 14 individual horses in 7 years that have come out and won an open age Group 1. It's a brilliant race. You know what surprised me about this race? And I had a discussion with Mary Playle about this today, actually. I was surprised, because of the record they have subsequent to this race, I was surprised how many of them were good 2-year-olds as well.
Yeah.
Which you'd think, because they go on to such good things, you'd think that they're maybe just emerging at this point and going up. But all bar Iqtidar had won a pattern race at 2.
Okay.
All the winners had been rated RPR of 109 or higher.
Well, I mean, it fits into that, doesn't it? And like I said, we look back now and we think, why is this race only just being created?
I know.
Because, like I said, it is that perfect stepping stone for a good 2-year-old. Then you don't quite stay the mile, you go for this, and then you, especially with the breeding going towards speed.
I've got to jump in. Oh my God! Let me hear that noise.
What is it, Tom?
Absolutely hate this race. I think it should.
Well, why? We'll go and make a cup of tea, Tom. Surely you've got a wall to paint, haven't you?
What is the point of it? Horses always used to be able to run at Royal Ascot. Dejour ran at Royal Ascot as a 3-year-old.
Well, Clanford Cliffs would have run it. Clanford Cliffs would never have made it as a mile. He'd have run in this and been a sprinter forever.
Sorry?
Clanford Cliffs would have probably run in this race and been a sprinter forever.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's better. They're immediately a positive of this race.
Clanford Cliffs was a fantastic miler, won the Sussex Stakes.
He would have run it because he's remember at the time they said he struggled to get home in the Guineas. He'd have run in this.
Look,
exactly. What a nightmare that would have been. What a great Guineas it was with him running in it, and what a great Sussex Stakes it was with him running in it.
Look, it's not the Camford Cliffs of this world, is it? It's the Paco Boys and the Strong Suits of this world. Those kind of horses. Paco Boy would have been. He sat at home wherever he is, going, "What? Why did it take you so long to create this race? All those 7 furlong horses who had to wait. They had to wait 2 years to run in Group 1.
Running the jerseys.
Horses ran in the Guineas and came back and ran at Royal Ascot in sprints. You could always do it. It's a nonsense of a race. It's creating ridiculous sprint stallions. We're rubbish at sprinting in this country, as witnessed by what happened in the King's Stand. And we're getting all these horrendously bad stallions, and we're getting a whole draft of rubbish horses. And I wish that races like this weren't here and we concentrate on middle distance races, because that's what we're good at. Okay. That's where we've always been good. We're not very good at sprinting, so why are we trying to do it?
Okay, thanks, caller. Next on the line is...
it really is like Jeremy Vine or something, isn't it?
Is this LBC? This is brutal. All right, fair enough. Well, there you go. What were you saying about it being the best race of the week?
I have no interest. I have no interest. You guys tell me what's going to win.
Well, I think Wings of War might win this, you know.
Yeah?
Because he's like what I love about it as well, because we think of it as a classic, but it's not yet dominated by these Godolphins, these Coolmores and Juddmonts and all that. And it's trainers like Fahey and Burke who've got Perfect Power and El Caballo, and Cox, who's won it with Golden Horde and has Wings of War, that they're getting that edge to win these big races. They're locked out of these other big middle distance races because they're dominated by the super sires for the reasons Tom sort of got at there. And I thought Wings of War last time in the Sandy Lane, which is the best trial for the race. We know that's an established good trial for this race. He basically got a trial ride for Ascot. It was, you know, he was held up to try and come late, which is...
I mean, the whole field in that race, didn't they?
Yeah, well, he was right off the pace and got a bit of trouble, didn't he, as he came through, and he was still just about last off the bridle.
Yeah, but you just did get the feeling that it was like, you go back, you have it, we'll blow the kit.
I think so. I think El Caballo maybe was a little bit like that too. He was there, he was fit, he'd been running all year and he was ready, so he was the one that had his turn that day. I know you would disagree and he's one of your fancies, but the draw is going to be tougher. I've not seen anything finish on that near side all week so far. But yeah, in Wings of War, he's drawn right beside, he's in 5, he's right beside Go Bears Go, who's going to go too fast, isn't he? He's just going to blow his loads, and that'll be him done, and with a couple of furlongs to go. And Wings of War, big 3-year-old, but he won the Mill Reef, and he's just got an awful lot going for him. So he's been one of my bets of the week. In fact, he was the only anti-post bet I had for Ascot, but I've gone on again when the decks have come out because you can't not really. And so I've backed Wings of War. He's one of my better bets on the week. It's a very competitive race. There's 2 or 3 horses in there that if they finished in front of him, I'd go, well, fair enough. But he's still a good price at 12.
Okay, Wings of War then. It is at 12 to 1 for either the best or worst race of the week, depending on what you think. But maybe Tom, because we're rubbish at sprinting, we brought this in to try and get better at it.
Can you imagine the muck that would get sent to stud if this race didn't exist?
Exactly the same lot. That's the problem.
It'd be all your Windsor Castle winners would be getting sent to stud, man.
Look, if it was if everything,
anyway, they are anyway.
Look, the event. I agree. I know what you mean about the Brie going towards speed, Tom. But if we only had mile as a middle distance horses, then
but we had them anyway.
Yeah, but what I'm saying.
We had them anyway.
But we created staying races as well, and they did nothing.
Rubbish. We had hundreds of them.
Look, what I was going to.
Sprinters. We've had Edgedale, we've had Deja, Danehill. We've had hundreds of them. Much better ones than we've got now. These lot wouldn't be able to go anywhere near Oasis Stream.
Yeah, and who owned and bred all of those? Surely it gives someone else a little bit of a chance to try and pick up a Group 1 as well, because once you start to get
very happy for them to give Group 1s. But if you look at Eraz is right at the top of the market. Edgediard's won it. Listen. Hamdan likes sprinters, no one else does. So listen, I'm happy for you guys to like it. We all like different things. We'll move on. I wouldn't watch the race if it was running in my back garden.
What'd you fancy, Tom?
No idea. No idea. I thought Eraz was a bit unlucky at Newbury the other day. when he
Whoa, hang on. You can't come in with measured, reasonable, form-based judgments now. You've thrown the toys out of the pram.
And also, because we're rubbish at it, maybe the American could go well, Slipstream, too.
Okay, very well. Simon Clare.
I love this. This is great fun. I mean, look, all I'd say is I'm not going to get involved in broadening the debate. I think Keith and Tom have done a very good job.
Well, you're going to have to referee it, Simon. Don't mind getting involved in the debate.
I mean, I don't mind. Listen, at the end of the day, it's a 20-runner race. We're paying 5 places, not 3, because it's so competitive. It's 4 to 1 the field. I think the betting turn there will be fantastic. So, I mean, on a very basic level of, does it work as a betting contest? Yes, it does. So it's filled. I mean, if there's only 6 runners or something, you'd say, well, what's the point? But And I mean, look, Iraz, Jim Crowley, I've got to get his name right. At the beginning of the week after Bayard, he singled out a couple of horses for the rest of the week, and this was one of them, Iraz. He said he's really confident. I think he rode in work last week, and he thinks he's come on again from Newbury. And as Tom's point, they do like their sprinters at Shadwell, and this could be another good one. Richard Hannon, I think he's due a win or two this week. This could be one of them. And actually, Slipstream is a really good American speedster. He actually stretched out for the mile at Del Mar, didn't quite get home, but has since come out and beaten Twilight Gleaming, who was the horse who won the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, Juvenile Turf Sprint, beating Go Bez Go. So there's definitely some form lines there to suggest that this Christophe Clement Slipstream will love the fast ground. He's got loads of good form and good firm ground, and he could go very well as a bit of a value price. But my God, it's competitive.
He probably won't get any shorter either, him, given he's an 18.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I said, it's all far side until 3 or 4 jockeys come down this near side rail and it completely goes the other way. But
gents, can I just ask a question? Do you really think that that it's a massive advantage being drawn 1 or 2? Do you think don't you think that the stalls will be in the middle and they'll all sort of come up the middle? Do you think
there's quite a lot of pace?
No going to race on this side, are they?
Yeah, well, Flaming Rib's going to come across as well, and Go Bears Go's going to stick far. People will just track the pace, won't they?
Well, I mean, it'd be interesting to see.
I think they can win for draw.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think
they just haven't. Nothing's actually come to the rail necessarily, has it?
Anything that's been remotely close to it's died on its backside. Yeah. So it's one of those that nobody's going to. It's going to take a lot of cojones to actually do it and try it.
But surely the problem is that the ones who have come down this near side have just been isolated anyway. So it's the fact. It's not necessarily draw based. It's you are with the pace and the majority of the runners.
Most of the time at Royal Ascot, the draw bias is just that, though, isn't it? It's where it's self-fulfilling because the pace goes to the right bits. And I don't know if it is a disadvantage on that side, but
Anyway, that brings the show to an end. Thanks, guys. We've run out of time. The race that Tom hates, he's managed to keep talking about it for 20 minutes. But the only advantage that I think El Caballo, drawn 20, likes to be reasonably prominent. The one thing I was worried about...
this is why you're doing it.
Well, I was worried about this horse because I thought the one thing that getting beat is going off too quick and getting hassled out in front. Now, if he comes over and Clifford Lee goes, I'm just going to settle down here while you'll get on with your own thing, then it might actually help him. He's won 2 3-runner races. He doesn't mind being in a stiff finish, pottering about in front on his own, and they just can't seem to get past him. So I will hope that El Caballo wins.
Did you watch Life on Mars when it was on? Remember that scene in the van where Gene Hunt says, I'll get your weapons out, and you've not brought anything, to John Sim, and he says, no, good luck.
Right, okay. I don't know what point you're making, but
well, it's just you've crafted a beautiful story there.
Right, I see. You're suggesting I'm bringing a tea cake to a gunfight. Is that it?
Can you see that happening? Can you really, in your heart of hearts, see that happening?
Look, I'm back to an anti-post. I've got to cling on to something. Let me cling on to something. Tom's already told me one of my favourite races of the week is pointless. The draw's done me. You've backed 25 to 1 shot, 14 to 1. I mean, what wins the Commonwealth Cup, Keith?
Wings of War, hopefully.
Wings of War, great, lovely stuff. Tom Segal?
My favourite race, can't wait for it, Eraz,
my word. If that wins now, I'm going to get on the train to your house.
He's snuck in a tip after all that.
Slap you silly.
He's snuck in a tip at the end, doesn't he?
Unbelievable.
That's all he's done.
He can't resist. He can't resist.
The race. I really haven't tipped in the race.
Anyway, Simon Clare, what wins the Commonwealth Cup?
I'm going to back Iraz to win and Slipstream each way.
Okay, fair enough, and I'll hope El Caballo. I mean, the chat. I mean, does anyone have? We haven't got time for the opinions on the chat, so I apologise for everyone at home. Oh, I'm gonna have to Judge Judy on presenting next week. Never mind me. Right. Moving on.
At least they'll save us the puns. Judge Judy would save us the puns, wouldn't she?
3:40 at Ascot tomorrow. The Duke of Edinburgh Stakes, a mile and a half, 19 runners. Let's get stuck into talking about the draw again, but on the round track, Just Fine is 7-2 favourite. Trawlerman 9-2. Candleford is 7-1. Contact is 15-2. Mashore is 8-1. Agero 14s with Staywell. 16-1 is Sir Rumi, and it is bigger prices the rest then for this mile and a half handicap, where Just Fine again is priced up because the Queen's clearly had them all in multiples, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, with the draw didn't seem to have that much different, did it? In the round race today, didn't they all drawn low do well? Deauville Flyer and the winner were all drawn low, came up the rail. So once again, I thought I outfoxed myself with draws on round courses, so I'm not too worried about it. Just Fine was obviously a big eye catcher last time. Not convinced he should be 7-2 though. Trawlerman's an interesting one. I see Gosden stuck him in the Grey Group 2 at the Prince of Wales is at the July meeting. They don't normally do that with horses that are handicappers. He ran in the Derby trial, didn't he, at Sandown, the Adayar's race last year and Alenquer's race. So they obviously think a bit of him. Whether he'll ride really fast ground, I don't know. And now I'm going to get back in Keith's good books here because I like the hurdler. And I know Keith likes hurdlers and jumpers deep down. Agero. I like Agero in this. I think he's got a really good chance. He was a very, very fast hurdler. I know David Bass used to describe him as the fastest horse in Kim Bailey's yard. So I've never been worried about, and I always think that he was rated 145 at one time. He's now rated 88 or something. He's ran 3 times in maidens. He should have won by about 14 miles last time. He got trapped in a pocket. Time before that, he bumped into one of Gosden's really good ones, Francesco Clemente. I just think he's a well-handicapped horse. His first time ever over a mile and a half on the flat. I don't think it's a very good race, this. I really don't. I don't think there's that much strength in depth in it. And I thought him at a 14-1 was a pretty good bet, actually. I quite liked him. Candlefoot is very dangerous. I know the Haggis team really, really like him and they think he's really well handicapped. But I think he's a bit funny, really. It takes ages to get going. He's one of those Kingmans that sort of waddles about a bit when he comes under pressure. So I definitely think he's well handicapped, but whether he'll put it in, I don't know. I like Agero. I think he's gonna run a massive race for Kim Bailey and David Egan.
Let's not talk about Candleford's dam sire, shall we? Norse dancer.
No, we haven't got time. We've talked so long about it. We can't go into dam sires now. This is it will be. It says. I mean, I want to. I genuinely want to. But
let's save it for the flat pack, shall we?
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting Tom on next week, and we're going to have to all come back. I think we're going to have some sort of after hours in the know where we all meet up in the pub and fist fight. But Just Fine is 7-2 favourite. Candleford is he is a bit of a quirky one. If this was any other Royal Ascot meeting, I'd say a horse drawn 18 with Ascot form for Haggis and Marquand on the round track in this kind of race over this trip, who's won on fast ground. The Jockey's 2 from 2. That Siscani form's absolutely bomb-proof. He's beat Coltrane, but it's just not been working out. It's not been working out for Haggis, apart from Baid, really. It's not been working out for Marquand necessarily, and it's not been working out for those wide draws. But he does have plenty of ability.
Do you want to be too wide? Is that a thing? Because I know you want.
It used to be, didn't it? I mean,
like on the straight
Ascot.
For once at Ascot, isn't it the case that the straight course and the round course are behaving exactly similar with the draw? You don't want to be too low or too high.
Well, they've reversed what they always used to be. You always used to get stopped on the rail and have to come wide for a wide draw, and they always used to come. It used to be high draws. Now it's all switched to low draws.
We saw in the mile 4 race today, didn't we? The dangers up the rail has with the horse that finished about 4th, and then the one that finished 5th in the red cap. That showed you the dangers are coming wide. So there's danger everywhere at Ascot.
There is.
Everywhere.
So let's ignore all that and just what do you think is the best piece of form or the most interesting horse?
The horse that could be better than this, I thought, was Trawlerman. He comes from, it's a really sort of late developing family, and he beat King Franco by half the track at Pontefract before running in that Lingfield race, Sandown race, when he was 6th behind Alenquer. He went off 11-2 for that. Clearly thought of at the time as a potential, maybe not a Derby horse, but a King Edward horse or something like that. Didn't go right for him, and he's come back and won that race at Chelmsford. It would have just been a sighter to get him back. It showed that he is, in fact, it's a massive improvement on his previous form, to be quite honest. And it just showed he is what he was threatening to be. I hadn't noticed the entry, actually, that Tom mentioned, but that is a very interesting one because that race is only 3 weeks away, less.
You're too busy looking at the sprints. That's the thing you missed.
Maybe so, yeah. But this horse it struck me as a sort of horse that is going to end up much better than 98, and we're going to go, well, out of 98, was it? And 3 is inside enough. My view this morning was, well, Frankie Dettori knows enough by now that he shouldn't be getting into trouble, but he's not had the best week, has he? He's had a rotten old time of it. But I just thought this was
form is temporary and all that.
Oh, it is, absolutely, and he'll be angry tomorrow, won't he? He'll be after something.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, he was the one that came out to me.
Okay, there you go. Trollman is a nice two-shot. There's loads in others in here. I mean, Contact's been wildly impressive, and as soon as he went at Haydock, I thought this was the ideal race for him. Mashaw was entered in the Wolverton the other day and comes here for a handicap instead, and he bolted up last time. That one box might not be too bad. Semhar's in fantastic form, and Moktasab I thought was a big eye catcher at Epsom. So Tom says it's not a great race necessarily in terms of strength in depth, but there's a lot of informed horses here, Simon. How many places are we offering, and do you have any wildly strong opinions?
Yeah, so we're offering 5 places, not 4, as in terms of sort of the normal rules, which is good. Just fine, obviously, a real focus, particularly, I suppose, on from the more recreational punts, etc., on the Queen's runners. They keep getting beat. Reach for the Moon got beat. Is there going to be a Royal winner this week in Platinum Jubilee year? And here we have a favourite. So you can sort of see Just Fine being almost over bet just by virtue of the market position and the colours on his back. But Candleford's actually been the best back to this evening, 10s into 7s, that sort of Coltrane form. Last time seen was on the all-weather beating Coltrane at Kempton. And Mashaw, quite an interesting one. Training stables from Sir Michael Stout as a 3-year-old, when normally they improve for him. They've gone to Johnny Murta, who was interesting after he won last time, saying that he came there mentally immature and now he's toughening up. And Johnny Murta obviously has had a Royal Ascot winner in a relatively short time as a trainer. I think Mashaw could go well. And I liked Ayero as well. I was actually at Sandringham that day, and Francesco Clementi was 4-9 favourite in a novice stakes, and I was watching Ayero. I love seeing those herders go over the flat, and gave it a real scare. And Francesco Clementi is now rated 99. Ajero's off 89. Obviously, come second at Chepstow since. But I thought, that could obviously run very well as well. But another cracking, big competitive field. But I'd probably Mashaw and Ajero would be the 2 for me.
Yeah, okay. I think I disagree with Tom again. Suddenly, we won't talk about the race. The better it looks, this. But okay, Tom.
I just think it's really competitive. It's incredibly competitive. I just didn't think, unless Trawlerman's, which he could be, as Keith pointed out, an outstanding, a little bit better than these. I didn't think they were, there were quite a few exposed horses in there. I like Ajero. I just thought he's going to improve again, step up to 1.5 miles. I think he'll go really well.
Okay, Ajero is a 14-1 shot.
Trawlerman,
it is. Albeit, I think given the way Tom's been, he's the one fishing tonight. But 92 is Trawlerman. Simon?
Yeah, Mashaw and what was I saying? Ajero, same as on Tom. Those both each way.
Okay, very well. It's another one. Every time, Trawlerman and Candleford with the 2, but they're just not prices I want to really get stuck into. But let's move on to the Coronation Stakes, shall we? A mile here, Group 1 for the Fillies. And we were talking about that Fillies mile form from Newmarket last year. And in Spiral, we've been waiting a while for her to make it to the track. Shame that Homeless Songs doesn't turn up to take her on. But it's hardly a cakewalk, is it, tomorrow? This is a red-hot renewal. 11-4 the favourite in Spiral. Cachet 6-1. Discoveries at 6-1. Mangosteen is 8-1. Prosperous Voyage in at 9-1. Tenebrism is 10-1. Spenderella 11s. Sandrine at 12s. And bigger prices the rest, including American Raiders and Irish Raiders as well. This is it's a very good race. Of course, the one they do have to beat is in Spiral, who was favourite for the Guineas before being pulled out, and Alpine Star won this race on her reappearance a couple of years ago. She could well be a similar type here, Keith, but this is a race that the British trainers don't tend to do particularly well. It's often Irish or French traders who come over and take this, and there's loads of them. Nearly every piece of form you want to be represented is represented.
Well, that's right, and it's a bit like St James. Obviously, it is the St James's Palace for fillies, and those races are the meetings of the English, Irish, and French guineas.
Yeah.
But with the fillies in particular, it tends to stand out that the Irish and French do well because, as I mentioned on the flat, their guineas are much closer.
Yeah.
And therefore they just work better as a race. Most of the guineas winners that run in this race have run again since. So it just means this is a more natural race for the Irish and French guineas form, which is going to have a bigger bulk of Irish and French trained horses, which I think is where it comes from. And Spiral obviously doesn't have that issue. She's not running any of them. She's coming in representing the 2-year-old form. And you often find that the ones representing the 2-year-old form at this point, they're almost untouchable. Like they're seen as in, there's no. Why is her form seen as so much better than the rest, even though none of it's this year?
Well, I mean, obviously a lot of those horses she did beat at Newmarket have come out in front. You know, Cachet was behind, Prosperous Voyage was behind, Magical Lagoon was behind. So, and it's almost like a copy and paste from the price that she was for the Guineas. It's like, well,
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's just like, well, we can't. We'll just whatever that is. We'll just put it. We'll just, even though things have happened since, we'll stick it in.
It does exactly. It just seems like they've not touched that form and not reappraised it. It's just that is calcified, and it's obviously the no. But
I mean, I'd argue possibly the opposite, though, in the sense that you could be getting value because you've seen.
You've seen them all run, and she's still better than them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, she's had all these.
What do you think wins?
What
was the value?
Well, I've put up Discovery's actually. She'd be the third foal out of her mare to win, or dam to win this race, possibly. They both won. Alpha Centauri and Alpine Star were both half sisters, I think, or even full sisters, possibly. Maybe not. Maybe just half. Anyway, family history in this race. A lot of it.
She's a full sister to Alpha Centauri and a half sister to Alpine Star.
Yeah. So theirs should be. That'd be incredible. 3 foals out the same dam to win the same Group 1 would be quite something. But anyway, she clearly on pedigree will suit all these conditions here. She looked really progressive and interesting coming into the Guineas. And I watched the Guineas back there. She hated something in the last 2 furlongs. We were going to assume the dip. She basically wasn't at home at all when push came to shove and faded out of contention. That being the case, going to give her another chance, especially with conditions coming in a way that really should suit her. Didn't her sire win the St James's Palace as well? I might have got that slightly wrong, but he'd.
Master Craftsman.
Yeah.
You know, Tom's better. Tom's got a better memory. Did Master Craftsman win the St James's Palace?
Or was it the Irish Guineas?
I can't remember that. He was second to See the Stars, wasn't he?
At York, yeah.
At York. Can't remember. Nice.
Okay.
He didn't run in this.
So you're going with? Well, there you go.
He's a non-runner pulled out in the day, self-cert.
Okay, there you go. So he didn't lose it.
No, he didn't lose it. The sire didn't lose the St James's Palace.
Yeah.
And anyway, no, but that was sort of the background of that horse. She looked well worth another chance, having seen how she didn't act at Newmarket, particularly in that day. And yeah, I just thought she was worth another go.
Okay, and obviously given a bit of a boost by Jessica Harrington's form this week at the track. But Pedro ran really well, and of course Magical Lagoon was a winner as well. Magical Lagoon, like I said, was behind in Spiral, but there's loads of interesting horses in here, Tom. Obviously you've got the French Guineas form as well. You've got Spenderella, and you've got Pizza Bianca, who again is the most sort of Ascot finishing horse I've ever seen. The way she weaved a passage through at Del Mar. Jose Ortiz hasn't ridden at the track for 4 years, mind. It's let's hope he does a little bit better than his fellow compatriots earlier in the week.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it didn't go well for Irad, did it on Golden Pal? But he's a very good jockey. I think it's a brilliant race. I really do. I don't actually think the miling fillies are that good as a group this year, but I think we got all of them bar Homeless Songs in this race, and that makes it a fascinating race for me. Inspiral's clearly the form choice in her 2-year-old form. John Gosden never ever runs horses in Group 1s. Well, he obviously does, but he never without a prep run. You know, he loves a prep run. If you think of all the Guineas, all the Derbies, all the Group 1s, he always uses a prep run. Inspiral's coming here without a prep run. Now, of course, there's a reason for that. She wasn't right in the spring, but I'm surprised he didn't go to Sandown for the Heron Stakes. He was going to do that. She never turned up there.
Well,
you know, I think he's had more issues than probably everyone's making, you know, than anyone's saying with her this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if she drifts a bit.
So on the back, that it might be the Falmouth might be the time to catch her then.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, I can't believe he'll have a cherry right. He just never has done in his history. He's brought up in America. They always use prep runs.
We said that in the Heron Stakes was run, didn't we? That's the St James's Palace horse that he tends to run in the Heron to get them fit.
Yeah.
He ran Reach for the Moon, obviously, who got beat today, but. Yeah, that's the sort of horse he always runs in the Heron Stakes. It is ridiculous. It's remarkable that he has just come straight here.
Yeah,
and he's come straight here, which makes you think that there's been a bigger issue than maybe anyone knows about. I don't know that, obviously, but I don't like backing Boston horses first time out in Group 1s. Cachet is an amazing filly, isn't she? She's not bred to be much at all, but she keeps. And I thought she was better in France than she was in Newmarket, really, because I thought the Newmarket race sort of fell apart. The figures weren't great for it. Discoveries, I get Keith's angle with that. but she has to bounce back. She was pretty lamentable in the Guineas, I thought. She's got to leave that miles behind. She could well do it. Lots of fillies have done it in the past. Mangosteen, I think is going to go well. Prosperous Voice go well, but I think they're beatable. I think the European fillies are beatable. So I was quite keen on one of the Americans. Graham Motion has run, I think, 2 fillies in group races at Ascot. Sharing came second 2 years ago, bumped into Alpine Star and got not a great ride, if truth be told. Went right round the outside and finished really well. She was very well fancied. She was about 3-1, I think, to win the Coronation Stakes 2 years ago. Miss Temple Meads was 4th in the Duke of Cambridge on ground she probably wouldn't have liked a few years before that. I think the unbeaten Spenderella is probably underestimated in the market. She's unbeaten. She loves firm ground. She won in hand last time in a Grade 2. I don't think she has to be brilliant to beat these. And I think there's a bit of I think we're a negative against American horses over further in this country when sometimes we shouldn't be. They could. I mean, there's no reason why they can't have as good a filly as Cachet or as good a filly as Mangosteen. She's better bred than them for starters. And so, I quite like the American angle in here. I thought Pizza Bianca was definitely one to, she beat Cachet in the Breeders' Cup Mile. But I thought Spenderella, just on the motion factor and the fact that he's booked William Buick, I thought that was a really good sign. I thought she could beat the European fillies. Inspiral could be different class, but I'm worried about her preparation. So I'll go for the Americans. Spenderella for me.
Okay, very well. And Simon Clare sitting at home, rubbing his hands together with glee, I imagine. For the people that come on the show, you are very much a global racing advocate. And I mean, you couldn't have wished for a better lineup, really, Simon.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm a big Breeders' Cup fan, and so Graham Motion's a trainer I actually would follow at the Breeders' Cup. He just doesn't run horses in the Breeders' Cup unless they're the right horses, and he really fancies them to run well, if you know what I mean. So when he decides to bring one over to the UK, even though he's an English trainer, again, he's just a brilliant placer of horses, and he knows what they need to be capable of to compete. So just take that on trust, and I think Spenderella, must have a live chance. And Pizza Bianca, I think, again, she's interesting. Again, I do get to get drawn in on these American runners. But it's a brilliant race, really competitive. Obviously, got all that 1,000 guineas form. Tuesday came out of it, won the Oak. So it's sort of, that sort of gives it, at least makes it a strong enough look. Inspiral is going to be the big focus, though. It's a real act of faith to back them, but I'm sure plenty will with the form figures and the memory of last year. Drifting massively in the betting, though, out to 11-4. It was going to be our in the no special 9-4 out to 11-4, but now the market walked in that direction. We're now going out to it. So from now for the next couple of hours, Inspiral will be 100-30 with Coral from 11-4. I think that would be a clear top price. So if you fancy Inspiral, you can have a few quid on her at 130. But for me, I'm going to go with Mangosteen. I thought she was a very good 2-year-old. Had the usual prep where she got beaten third in April, came out, beat Cachet in the French 1,000. So I think she'll go really well. And yeah, I'm going to go with Spenderella of the Americans as well. So that'll be my two.
Okay. And what price Inspiral was it?
Oh, it was really frustrating, wasn't it? 11-4 or 100-30. You want Inspiral, it'll be carpet, don't you?
Exactly. There you go.
You've absolutely, you must have done that deliberately.
Opportunity.
You must have done that deliberately.
I've ruined it. I've ruined the pun.
Beautifully done. Okay. Cracking race. I'm just trying to see if there's anything we haven't mentioned. Maybe Sandringham, of course, was an Ascot winner last year and didn't have things go the way in the Guineas either. And also Prosperous Voyage, who, Ascot, the way that horse runs will suit better than Newmarket. When it rides like it traditionally rides, which it hasn't necessarily been this week. So a cracking Coronation Stakes in prospect. People at home, Pizza Bianca will get to the top of the hill and think she's finished. Okay, fair enough. What else? So we got Sandringham run well enough in the Guineas. So Steeman's 99, Mangosteen for Neil Francis, and apart from that, nothing else I can see necessarily. So cracking race for tomorrow, the Coronation Stakes. You'll be playing, Keith? Discoveries it is, and Tom.
Spenderella for me, Ross.
Okay, Spenderella it is at 11-1. Simon?
I'm giving myself two, as always. Mangosteen and Spenderella each way. Actually, I just realised there's another in the no special, which is quite handy given Tom's big talk up of the American runners. 7-1, a US-trained winner. So you get both of them running for you at 7-1. That was 11-2. So I think that comes out reasonably well at the prices.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad...
I have to say, Ross, we've seen a vast improvement in these price boosts in the recent months, haven't we? They were shocking to begin with, but they're getting better.
Yeah, there you go.
My influence, Tom, my influence. There's the pressure you put on week in, week out.
That's it, yeah. That's it. That's that whip you've been cracking, Tom Segal. So
I'll get rid of that Commonwealth Cup before you know it.
I was going to say, the influence you have.
Never I'd rather die than denounce the Commonwealth Cup.
Oh, dear, honestly. But are there other real things going on in the world? I'll go for Pizza Bianca as well to... No, I can't even bring myself to do it. Can't even bring myself to do it.
Come on. What were you going to say?
How can you resist in this show?
I know. Because I've got too many. If anything, I've got too many. So, look, you've got to earn a crust, haven't you? Now, the Sandringham Stakes is up next, which... that
was the best of them, and it was a...
It wasn't. It was the only one that came crashing into my brain at the time. But the Sandringham Stakes, I mean, you thought we just had a very good... mile race for fillies at Ascot for the 3-year-olds. Well, I mean, this is right up there as well, isn't it? Heredia is 4-1 favourite. Fresh Hope 7-1. Cronell 9-1. Zambak 10-1. Persist 10-1. 14-1 Lullaby. 16-1 Invigilate. 18-1 Discretion. And it is bigger price as the rest here, Tom Segal. And again, the problem is, I went through this race the other day and I thought, you know what, straight track, mile, Judmont, breeding, form, everything looks good for both Cronell and Invigilate. We obviously had Thesis winning today, which boosted it a little bit, but where are they? 24 and 29. Please tell me they can win down this near side.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they can win down the near side, but they'll just switch over. They'll just switch into the middle. We saw what Jamie Spencer did with Chief of Chiefs. He probably get lambasted for coming too late again, but he probably got him into the frame when no other jockey would have in the Buckingham Palace. He was drawn very high today, wouldn't he? I just think they'll switch him behind to try and ride for a bit of luck. You just never know. You just never know. I don't think I certainly wouldn't be worried. Well, I would be worried, but I wouldn't be ruling out horses drawn high at any amount of money. The one I like, I mean, Heredia was really impressive at York, wasn't she? After she missed the break, she could easily. I mean, she's in the Falmouth Stakes at, I think, at Newmarket, so she could easily be, the proverbial group horse in the handicap. I think she's going to have to be off the weight she's got. Zanbak was a horse that went into my track. I don't actually do trackers, but a proverbial tracker. When she was third to Bash Grover was second, wasn't she, in that Goodwood race? Thought she ran a remarkable race for a 3-year-old filly at that stage of the season. And then she won under a penalty. So I thought she had a chance. Cronell beat a horse that went on to win a listed race at York next time, Fontaine. She didn't stay a mile and a quarter. I think she'll like dropping back in trip.
Yeah,
but the one I like,
92 there, looks very tasty as well. But,
yeah, she's got a good chance. Big Man, he was Thesis's sire today, wasn't he, in the mile handicap? One I like, very, very obvious, very, very boring. Fresh Hope. Now, she was a 12-1 shot earlier in the day. I see she's 6-7-1 now. It's just Charlie Fellows, Hayley Turner. Same draw. They're all three of their winners have been drawn in lower than 5. All 2 of their winners, I'm saying three before she's even won Fresh Hope. Her 2 winners have won from 4-1. At the start of the season, this was their big hope. Charlie Fellows thought she might be a group class filly. Things didn't go right on her debut at Wetherby. I think it was over 10 furlongs. So he sort of plotted back to this race with her. She won at Doncaster last time after a slow start and sort of having to weave through and just got up on the line. I think there's plenty more to come from her. I think she's a lot better than 80-something, whatever she's rated. I think she'll go really well from stall 5. I think she's the one to beat. But I am very worried about Cronell.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Cronell, who, again, the Judmont horse is just clearly bred for this. The Cronell's Dam ran her best race at the track, and Invigilate comes from the family of Expert Eye, who won the jersey. So it's proper Ascot form. So hopefully, they'll switch into the middle and probably run into 5 horses backsides and be unlucky in that way, because that's Ascot.
Exactly, one big group, and then you're just meeting trouble all the time. You don't want to be in the wings, because then you're isolated like that Who Put 50 on you today.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be in the big group of horses, because then you're Ross Collin. who has to weave through and finish fast.
And you don't want to go off too fast in front. You don't want to be held up too far. Where do you need to be?
You just need to be. You need to be on a horse that's got 20 pounds in hand, basically, don't you? That's what you need to be.
And is there any in here?
About 5, unfortunately.
Yeah. 13 of them making the handicap debut as well. There you go. I'm so excited. I've kicked over a glass of water.
Yeah, it's quite incredible scenes, really. I got to 2 in this race when I was looking earlier on, and Fresh Hope was one of them. The price is coming on her. I think the draw's partly to do with that. She's in 5.
Yeah.
She still looked green last time. She needed to be even more Spencered than she was, if anything, in that race. But yeah, she's 7-1 is short enough now for me to say the other one is my main bet. Only drawn on 11, and so it's not far away from all the action necessarily. And I can raise you Ascot form on the ones you've been talking about, because I've got a horse that's by Frankel out of Persuasive.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, perfect, really, isn't it? Absolutely perfect.
Persist is this horse. Quiet time last year, Haggis, as we know, sent her to Ripon on her first start at 3. She was quite easy to back that day, and turning in, she was well off the gallop and wide. That's bad news at Ripon. But after a furlong later, Tom Marquand was riding her at the back of horses, so she didn't get there too soon. And she won going away by a length and 3/4. I mean, this is a different kettle of fish, but she looked a different species to those horses that day. Vastly improving. The pedigree tells you lots about where she's expected to go. She's in off 83. I thought she was in a race where, obviously, there's as I say, there's 8 potential group fillies in this race.
Yeah.
She was one of them, is off one of the lowest marks of them, has a good draw, excellent pedigree. She just put her nose in front for me.
Okay. Another blinding race at Royal Ascot here. How many places have we got, Simon? Surely not 5, 10, maybe 12, 13?
You get 6. 6 places.
6, fair enough.
4. 6 is not too bad. Heredia, very well back, was 6-1 about a couple of hours ago, now 4-1. Obviously unbeaten. Fresh Hope, very well back. The Segal factor and the draw, I think. Draw favourability, that's made her shorten up. And Zambak drifting a little bit, actually, but Jim Crowley said he thinks she'll run really well. His one concern is that she's got form on sort of softer ground, so will she handle good ground? He thinks she may well do, but they just don't know. So I'll probably go for Zambak, because Jim's horses have been the horse they've been running with Jim on board have been running really well all week. So I think she'll go well again.
Okay. Cracking Sandringham Stakes then at Ascot. Still got 2 more races to go, but you're playing...
Persist is the main one. I've also had little bets on Fresh Hope.
Okay, there you go. That's 2 horses who are bred to be group class fillies. 2 more from you, Tom.
I know, just Fresh Hope. I was very interested in Persist, but I couldn't for the life of me work out why Tom Marquand wasn't riding him. And that sort of, I don't know why that put me off, but it did. But probably shouldn't, because Kieran Fallon is a very adequate replacement, but Marquand can do the weight, and he's riding one for Marco Botti. Whether that's a tip in itself, I don't know, but it just seemed weird considering he's ridden her all the time. But he
can do the weight, but it's his lowest weight in the last 12 minutes. It could have been maybe just a step too far. Do you think?
No, I think if Persist was a good thing and had 20 pounds in the hand, he would have found that £1. I'm pretty sure of it.
Okay,
Mr. Haggis just wants to give Kieran Fallon a winner after Tuesday.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that's
right. I'm hoping, because I like her too, Keith. I'm hoping that's the case.
Okay,
but it just slightly put me off.
To be fair to Kieran Fallon, he's had a good day at Chelmsford, so he'll have his confidence boosted. And I'll go for the 2 the Juddmonte horses. And Simon, we're a minute past post time already. Zambak it is. Right, we're going to have to set a word count, I think, on these last 2 races. We've got the King Edward, the 7th Stakes, a Group 2 here where Changing of the Guard represents the Derby form here at odds of 13-8. Ottoman Fleet is 2-1, Lysander 3-1, Savvy Victory 16s, Grand Alliance 18s, 25-1, Dark Moon Rising. The usual lineup in this Tom for the King Edward, the 7th Stakes. Changing of the Guard was comfortably left behind at Epsom last time out, but this is very different kettle of fish, but he's got 2 improvers to come up against. Are you with the Derby form or against it?
Against. I've got to be against Derby form. Nahani did nothing for it earlier in the week. At the ground, I think Changing the Guard wants a bit giving the ground too. It was definitely soft at Epsom, whatever anyone says, or on the soft side. There was a lot of, Andrew Cooper's very renowned for watering, so I'd be worried about the ground for him. I think Ottoman Fleet's probably the obvious alternative, although I will be having a little bit on my New Bay theory, because Savvy Victory's in there for my favourite sire at the moment, New Bay, who had another winner today, Claymore. and I think he's better than he's shown. So I will be taking on Changing of the Guard, and I might throw a few quid at Savvy Victory at a big price.
Okay, very well. And Savvy Victory is a 16-1 shot. Changing of the Guard, the favourite here. I thought Ottoman Fleet was very interesting. Last time they won this, they won the Fairway Stakes with Old Persian, came here and won nicely. And I mean, he should be 2 from 2, really, shouldn't he?
He really should, yeah, with that form against Natural World. It's a good maiden as well, and it was only inexperience that beat him. And it's not terribly common for Appleby to go with a horse that could have won a maiden straight into the listed class. And obviously he did, and he won that one. I think there's a lot to come from this horse. Partly, I do want to get Changing in the Guard beat. I think he should have run better than he did in Epsom from where he was Tattenham Corner. Just about, he didn't get that bad a time up front, and weakened out of it. I don't think he necessarily is all that. So yeah, Ottoman Fleet for me.
Okay, very well. And Ottoman Fleet, I agree with Mr. Melrose. Simon, are you taking on the favourite as well?
Yeah, drifting from 11 to 8 out to 13 to 8. I think the market's against him. Money for Ottoman Fleet and Lysander. We've got a special. Changing the Guard to win by over 1.5 lengths is 9-2 from 7-2. But I'm going to go for Lysander.
Okay, very well. That's Changing of the Guard, bolting up by 5 lengths there. That's 30 to 8. We're all taking him on. We're all taking him on. But 9-2 to win by 1.5 lengths from 7-2. Okay, penultimate race done and dusted. On to the last race. Good. Well, Tom. I was going to say Tom's not going to have anything to say about this, but he spoke about the race he hates for half an hour, so God knows what he's going to make of this 5 furlong handicap. It's the Palace of Holyroodhouse Stakes, of course, the 3-year-old 0 to 105. It's an absolute corker. Ladies' Church, though, is the favourite, 30-2. Corker is 8-1. Sterling Knight is 11-1. Latin Lover, 11-1. Ruthin is 12s. Tippy Toes, 12s. Love Me Like a Rock is 14-1. Monacan is 16-1, and his bigger prices the rest. Genuinely devastated, Keith. We can't talk about this race for 20 minutes. I've been following the 3-year-olds. You've been following the sprinters. A wine top up tree. I mean, how are we going to have to speed this up?
It's perfect, isn't it? I mean, I do want to spend a lot of time on it, but I was mostly disappointed when you rattled through the prices there, because it means that both the horses I've put up for this have already shortened from where I had them earlier. The thing with this race, just to go through it quickly, the pace is all in the middle here. The American horse Ruthin is in 17. Usually looks like a usual sort of wild horse type horse, can't hold them onto them, they just have to blast and go. But also there's front runners in 19, front runners in 16 and 15 as well. So all the pace is there. The reason Ladies' Church has been backed a little bit is she's in 14, so she's right beside all that pace, and I can see it. That cork form behind Sacred Bridge appeals to me as being pretty good. But the other one that's in the midst of that I like is Tippy Toes. She improved massively. She could have run in a handicap when she was at Chelmsford that time. Her mark was like 82. Johnson doesn't normally do that, Mark Johnson. He usually sends them, usually wins the handicap and works up to it. Sent her into a listed race, she won it. That was an improvement by about £20 for her. And the next time she ran in the Sandy Lane. Now, the first 4 in the Sandy Lane are all running in the Commonwealth Cup. We know that's rubbish, obviously, but but no, she was 6th, Tippy Toes, in that race, and she got a horrible time through it. She missed a break. She was isolated in that far side group early. She got scrimmaging as she came through, but she was still there with all big 4 a furlong out before she faded. So coming back now to a stiff 5 rather than 6, having her form in the all-weather, in amongst all the pace, bit of a pace angle herself, but not as quick as those horses. I think there's an awful lot to like about her, and she was 20+ to 1 earlier. She's come in now. I thought that was an obscene price, but the current price now I think still offers a bit of value. She's got a lot going for her.
Okay, nice prices there for this 6-10 at Ascot. Then Ladies' Church is 13-8 favourite. The form I wanted to follow was the Sterling Knight form, which is represented by 3 horses here. So I'm just going to back them all: Sterling Knight, Latin Lover, and Little Guff. They all ran in a really hot handicap here earlier on in this season. The only 2 winners of this race, both proven over further as well. So I'll take those 3 against the field. Tom Segal, you've got 10 seconds to tell us how much you love this race.
Not my cup of tea. Ross, as you well know, my pin ended up on the bottom one, Latin Lover. I thought he was impressive last time at Kempton on the all-weather. Chased a really strong pace, shot clear. I think a stiff 5 furlong. Massive fan of Hayley Turner at Ascot. Needed a penalty to get in, got one. And like you, I like Ascot form in these races. And he ran really well from a dodgy draw in the Sterling Knight race. He was on a wing on the near side. I think he's right in the pace, as Keith has pointed out so eloquently. So I would go for Latin Lover, but as you well know, it's not my type of race.
No, apparently not. Simon, Clare, see us out with a winner or an offer, whatever you want.
Yeah, no, it's 6 places rather than 4, and it's a hugely competitive 5 furlong handicap. Tippy Toes I saw was very unlucky at Haydock, so obviously there's money for that. Probably Keith's obviously had an influence on that, so I thought he was quite interesting at 12-1, drawn close to Ruthin, but probably quite tricky. A tricky race.
It is indeed. But you'll be playing?
Oh yeah, played 2 of them, and each way doubles to try and take advantage of all the extra places. It's a bit naughty. I'll probably lose an account, but there we are.
Yeah, but that's fine. You could always put a false moustache on or something. Okay, and let's leave us for tonight's show, which I've been thoroughly enjoying, and people on the chat have been as well. But
tell you who hasn't enjoyed it.
Tom Segal?
Yeah.
Tom's having a great time. That's exactly what he wants.
I've enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. The most contrary man in racing analysis. What he wants is people to argue with him. Absolutely, you've loved it, Tom.
Far from contrary, just right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you can't agree that you're contrary, can you? Because that would completely blow the brand. Anyway, what's the nap on day 4, Tom Segal?
Oh, I like Agero. I think the hurdler will win.
Okay, fair enough. Agero it is. Keith?
Wings of War in the big race.
Okay. Wings of War it is. Simon?
On the basis I don't want to tip in the same race, I'm going to go for the John. Oh no, that's a Gero's race. I'll go for Mangosteen in the Coronation Stakes, the French
main race.
Yeah, and I also
the main race.
the main race, yeah. And I will go with Crunell. In the Sandringham Stakes. Sure, why not nap in a 29-runner race? It worked for Graham Rodway the other day. Why can't it work for me? That's it. We've got one more in the know to come for this week, of course, ahead of the final day of Royal Ascot. Thank you, Simon. Will you be back tomorrow?
No, it's Steve out tomorrow night, just seeing us out.
Very well, fair enough. And Tom, we'll see you tomorrow for of course a big sprint.
Oh, there's a sprint. It's the Wokingham, isn't it? Oh.
And the Platinum Jubilee, Tom. And the Platinum Jubilee. You know that race the 3-year-old used to run in?
Yeah. And the 15-runner jersey, which has been weakened by the Commonwealth Cup. I don't know about that. Anyway, and you won't be back, but it's been lovely to see you.
And you, Ross.
Thanks everyone for watching at home. We'll see you tomorrow night. This has been In the Know. Good night.